The fair tax is a national sales tax that replaces all federal income tax. It replaces the FICA payroll tax, and it eliminates the IRS. So when you hear people demagogue the fair tax, which is what the former name is, or they demagogue the national sales tax or the consumption tax, they're talking about the same thing. But what they don't tell you is that it replaces those other federal taxes and collects the same amount of revenue. And you only pay taxes not on income. You pay taxes on your purchases of new goods and services. And that's what I'm going to be writing about next week. And that's really phase 2 of my economic vision. Phase 1 of those other things that I've talked about. But I want to give the American people enough time to fully understand it before I introduce it, which will probably be in the second 2 years of my term. But the fair tax is a great way to move taxation from the government to the individual.
You mentioned 23. 29, is that extended to what you are aware of?
No, that's 29 is incorrect. That 29 is incorrect. In the legislation, it states 23. HR 25. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Cain. Thank you for coming. Really appreciate it. I have a question. Do you have a strategy you can share with this audience as to how you're going to deal with the Obama media, the mainstream leftist media, and so
I do have a strategy for dealing with the Obama media. For those of you who may not be sure what he's referring to, it has been documented that ABC, CBS, and NBC are very biased in favor of President Obama. They give him a wink, wink, and a nod on a lot of things. My strategy is threefold. Number one, tell people the truth. What an awful idea. Number two, there are some cable outlets out there, like Fox News, who are telling people the truth, and they're giving me an opportunity to tell people where I stand on these issues. And let me tell you what the biggest thing that we have going to fight the Obama media, and that's you, the public. Because 10 years ago, we didn't have the internet. 10 years ago, you wouldn't have had this many people show up for this meeting. But look at us now. And I plan to be the type of president that keeps the American people in the loop, informed, in terms of what we're trying to do and why. And I happen to believe that over time, truth is going to win out. And here's another assumption that the Obama administration and the other legacy media that they are basically assuming. The American people are not stupid, but they still want to treat us as stupid. And I think you are going to send a very different signal to them in 2012. That's how I'm going to deal with the Obama media. Steve, I think we got time for 2 more, is that right?
Okay, we got to make sure we have, Mr. Cain.
I've got time for 2 more.
Okay, Mr. Cain, very quickly, Dennis Ellis, Pullman, Ohio. We all agree with your ideas about keeping certain segments of the government open, because every time we have a financial crisis, they want to basically punish the people. It occurs to me there's one other area they punish the people, they shut down the national parks. I don't think we should do that either. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Not having the actual budgets for all of the various agencies agencies in front of me. I hear what you're saying, but my approach is going to be, after we pay, if we get into this situation again, now, let me just back up for a moment and say, right now, the annual federal budget is about 60% over the amount of revenues that we are bringing in. 60. I couldn't run a business like that. You couldn't run your household like that. So what I've got to do is two things. Not only do some serious cutting and restructuring, but also boost this economy. So if we start raising the revenues, because we're going to put some of these 15 million people back to work, businesses that are on the brink of bankruptcy might be able to make it if they can hold on until I become president. Families will get some breathing room because they've been hanging in there for the last 3 years because of this bad economy. Once we get the revenues going and the costs coming down, then we will look at all of these programs side by side and determine which ones are most critical so we can live within our means. That's my objective, so we can live within our means. Yes.
My question is, I hear you talk about improving business. I have a two-part question. Improving business, what about safeguarding our industry or bringing industry back to the United States? Is the first question. Second question is about our immigration on the southern borders. How are we protecting our southern borders? Good question.
Let's talk about business coming back to America first. The first thing you have to do in order to get businesses and industries coming back to America is you have to stop driving them out of America. That's the tax code we have is driving businesses out of this country. This gets back to phase 2 of my economic vision, which is to totally replace the tax code with the fair tax that I talked about. We would become the most business-friendly nation on the planet when we replace the tax code. And then you don't have to do anything special to get businesses to stay here and come here. You remember that big sucking sound Ross Perot talked about? It'll be coming back this way. Now, in the short term, this is why I'm proposing taking capital gains tax rate to 0. Because as you know, a lot of our small businesses are organized as subchapter S corporations, which means that if their business makes a profit, they have to run it through their personal income tax. And that means it gets taxed because they succeeded. Taking capital gains tax rate to 0, that business owner might invest some of it, and if he invests some of it under the current tax code, and he makes some money on it, or he gets some gain on that capital, he got to pay another tax. That's double taxation. And we need double taxation by taking the capital gain tax rate to 0, and also being able to allow businesses to expense capital equipment, meaning money that they spend on equipment, allow them to expense it without forcing them to depreciate it. That's how you get businesses to stay here and come back to this country. Immigration. The reason that not a lot of progress has been made on immigration is quite simply because it's not one problem. It's 4. And I believe that we need to attack each of those problems separately, but in a coordinated fashion, which is what I would do. Problem number 1, secure the border. complain about the illegals that are here all they want to. But until we cut off people coming through the back door and the side door, we're never going to solve that problem. That's common sense. Here's how I would secure the border. I would use a combination of a real fence. I know some people say we can't build a fence. Put me in charge of the fence and I'll build the fence. We can put a man on the moon and you're going to tell me we can't build that. You know, when President Obama was joking about that moat with the alligators? I'm exaggerating, but I do believe that if we use a combination of a physical fence, technology, and troops where necessary, we can secure the border, and that would be a priority. Second problem, enforce laws that are already there. Just enforce the law, but we have to make it there for businesses to adhere to them, which is why every development fair by citizens. The third thing we need to do is to promote the path to citizenship that's already there. We don't need a new one. Let's clean up the bureaucracy that's getting in the way of the one we have. And fourthly, empower the states to deal with the illegals that are already here. But Dave?
Yeah, I'm coming. Hey, Herman, listen, I want to thank you for your time.
Let me make a couple of concluding remarks first, Dave.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here, first of all. And I'm delighted that because of technology, I was able to share with you, and hopefully the next time I can be there in person, which I look forward to. Let me tell you, I have been traveling around this country since I announced my candidacy. I was traveling around this country before I announced my exploratory committee. And your concerns, your passion is exactly the same as millions of other people. So I don't want you to get discouraged based upon what you hear in the media, what you read in the newspaper. Because what I know for a fact is that the American people, not the media, they are going to select the next president of the United States, starting with selecting the next Republican nominee, and it's going to be up to the people, not up to the politicians and the press. And that's what's happening. And if you elect me president of the United States of America by way of the Republican nomination, to paraphrase Abraham Lincoln, right after this 235th celebration of our independence, one of the things that would make me a different kind of president than any of the others, quite frankly, is that I would be a president of people, by the people, and for the people. I would be the people's president, not the politician's president.
Herman, I want to thank you again for taking the time. 45 minutes of your schedule is very valuable time, and we appreciate it. Bev, thanks you. We all thank you, and we'll see you here on July 30th.